McLaren ruins Formula 1 for fans by sucking the fun out of the title fight. I'll save the best example for last, but let me explain. On a warm summer's day in Hungary 2024, Lando Norris lines up P1 and Oscar the Hairline Pastry lines up P2. At the first corner, you know how it goes, Lando bottles the start and Piastri takes the lead of the race. Then on lap 46, Norris pits, completely undercutting Piastri and giving him the lead of the race. McLaren tells Piastri, "Don't worry mate, we'll manage the situation," which actually means, "We flipped a coin in the garage and it landed on you." But then on lap 50, McLaren, trying to avoid a civil war at all costs, tell Norris to give back the position. Norris gets back on the radio, "Piss off, I'm fighting for a title. Should have pit him first then." McLaren get back on the radio, "Please Lando baby, this isn't you.
You're going to need Oscar and you're going to need the team."
On lap 68 out of 70, Lando gives back the position. And so in the space of a single race, McLaren undermined Piastri's first win and pissed off Lando Norris. But at least they scored a 1-2 for the team. You might be thinking, stay out, that seems pretty fair mate. What are you on about? But this little squabble wasn't just a one-off mistake, it was foreshadowing for exactly how McLaren would screw F1 fans for the entire 2025 season. Before we get into the fun of the 2025 season, let's meet the geniuses who made this Ferrari strategy masterclass possible. First up, Zak Brown, McLaren's CEO, not to be confused with Peter Griffin, Dr. Eggman or Jabba the Hutt. Zak Brown does love the McLaren buffet, but his real job is to sell sponsorships, smile for the camera, and party hard.
Party? Cool that sounds.
According to LinkedIn, he's a professional MILF muncher. But aside from slinging the rocket in his trousers, Zak Brown has also built a rocket on track, one that's munching the rest of the F1 grid. He's completely turned the team around and definitely not favouring Lando Norris in the process. Alongside the CEO of the Empire is Andrea, the Italian mob boss Stella. Calm, Italian, and unlike Zak Brown, actually an engineer. He started his career in F1 as a performance and race engineer at Ferrari, but is now the team principal for McLaren. The mob boss is usually the man you see on TV when the media start asking questions and Zak Brown can't hide behind a smile anymore. A true, cold-hearted killer. And finally, we've got the McLaren strategy department, the McLaren Mafia. They're the faceless goblins behind the pit wall that have destroyed the championship battle hopes of every fan watching in 2025. The Mafia managed to turn simple strategy calls into Formula 1 social media World War III. So with a jester, a mob boss, a mafia, and a car on cocaine, McLaren marched into 2025 and immediately showed the world they had no balls. Round 1, Australia. Oscar Piastri's home race, the perfect place to prove he can take a championship fight to Lando Norris. But the Mafia had other ideas, because the conditions on track were a bit dodgy. Hadjar went for a little spin. Doohan went for a little spin. Sainz went for a little spin. Liam Lawson, guess what? Went for a little spin. Gabriel Bortoletto, he spun as well. So as you can tell, the track was wetter than Isaac Hadjar's eyeballs. Pretty sketchy. And so on lap 30, Piastri is stalking Norris. He's miles faster. He's going to catch up. The move is on. The Mafia then jumps straight on the radio. "Oscar, you dickhead. Hold position." Now let me throw that into my trusty Zak Brown translator. What the Mafia on the pit wall actually meant was, "We promised Lando a championship. Please follow the script." Then on lap 34, it cuts to an Aston Martin tumbling into the wall, bringing out the safety car. Everyone thought, Jesus Christ, Lance Stroll has done it again. But then they both get a free pit stop, go for a little slide through the grass, and just like that, in one race, McLaren showed us exactly how far they're willing to go to ruin wheel-to-wheel racing between their drivers. But you're thinking, the track was wet. Seems pretty reasonable they would do that. Next up, Formula 1 arrives in Canada, the land of the Maple Leaf, Snowmen, and Lance Stroll, the greatest driver of all time. You disrespectful streak of... The McLarens are down to 4th and 5th. Okay, maybe let's chill this time. Not do anything stupid, make sure we score points for the team and extend the championship. We go wheel to wheel, Lando throws it down the inside, Piastri takes it back, and then...
The McLarens collide! Lando Norris into the wall!
He's done it again! That is a foul! You fucking little bastard!
Right, got to give it to him. That was pretty entertaining. Maybe McLaren won't make this season as boring as I thought. I feel like we're going to come back here after the season and see that this was the race that really started the championship fights. Norris Piastri is becoming a real battle, and still more than half a season to go. This looks interesting. Now, notice what those comments have in common.
So that was a fucking lie.
Next up, Austria. On lap 11, the McLarens are going wheel to wheel. Piastri gets past, Norris says fuck you and pulls a switchback. Cold move. Then they go side by side again, but Norris holds onto it. Finally, good racing. Fast forward to lap 20, Piastri is getting close again towards turn 4 and pulls out a dive bomb that made Zach Brown and even the Italian mob boss himself shit themselves. And honestly, good. If you're not willing to risk killing your teammate, are you really a title contender? For example, Hamilton versus Rosberg, Senna versus Prost, Vettel versus Webber. Do I really need to go on? But of course, the Mafia weren't happy. Oscar mate, my arm was fully clenched, so please don't do that again. Alright, that was a bit risky, but when you consider the fact that they were already 7 seconds in front of the rest of the grid in the space of 20 laps, who really gives a f***? The closest car was Charles Leclerc, but he was driving a Leisure Boats UK Red Dragon Pedalo. Yes, that's the second time I've mentioned Leisure Pedalos in the videos. Maybe I do have a bit of the tism, because I think they're really cool. Look at this. You can buy a Porsche Pedalo for only 4.6 grand. Are you listening? That's a great price. Imagine if I took it to Monaco. I'd stick it on pole without even touching land. Look at me go. You fat snob. I'm fucking buying one. Fuck you. Subscribe so I can afford a Pedalo for my 1 mil special.
We're going to Monaco!
Which brings us to the best example of all. Monza, the Ferrari glory hole. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Lando didn't bottle the start. There, I said it. Behind Lando and Max, Pastry Boy was having the fight of his life against the red Pedalo of Charles Leclerc, who managed to hold on to P3 for a solid 6 laps. Then it's back to Ferrari hell and everyone watching falls asleep for 41 laps. Until we make it to McLaren's biggest adventure yet.
On lap 46,
Lando has a fat lead over Pastry Boy, so the pit will get on the radio yet again. Lando, fancy giving your teammate a chance to ram you up the arse with an undercut? Lando says, absolutely, put it up my crack any day. I'd love to get cut by my championship rival. So Piastri pits and 1.9 second stop. The pit crew are on fire. Nothing can stop them now.
What's going on with Lando Norris? A slow stop.
Alright, so Lando had a slow stop because of this knobhead who forgot how a wheel gun works. Even his mate was like, Jesus Christ mate, put it back in.
That's what she said.
Very unlucky for Lando, but that's how motorsport works. Sometimes you get fucked, especially when you let your teammate go for the undercut for some reason. Time for more radios.
Oscar, this is a bit like Hungary last year. We pitted in this order for team reasons. Please let Lando pass, then you're free to race.
What am I watching? You are championship rivals at the peak of motorsport. This is not like Hungary. A slow pit stop does not mean you get a free pass when you're competing for a f***ing title. Call me old school, but I miss when cars used to race each other for positions. And it wasn't just me that thought so, because thanks to McLaren, Twitter World War III broke out yet again. This is lame for both drivers, lame for racing, lame for the World Drivers' Championship battle. What a joke. What a disgrace. This isn't racing. But it doesn't stop there, because Max Verstappen was in the lead of the race at this point, with Piastri and Norris behind him. So his race engineer, Gianpesto Latagliatelli, told him they'd swap places over the radio. And listen to Max's tone when he replies.
Just because he had a slow stop?
It's not our business, but I guess it keeps it fair between the drivers in terms of championship.
It might not seem like much, but that little tells you everything you need to know about the difference in mentality between a 4-time world champion and whatever the fuck is going on at McLaren. After the race, Verstappen told Service TV, I wouldn't have done that. And to be honest, neither would have Vettel, Schumacher, Hamilton or Senna. I said what I said. If that's a hot take, sue me, because what has motorsport come to? The race before at the Dutch Grand Prix, Lando Norris's engine blew up. Boo-hoo. Yeah, maybe that's not the way we want the title to be decided. So in the future, expect McLaren to maybe get on the radio and say, Lando's car went bang bang, so please park the car and throw a C4 in at your nearest convenience. Because that is genuinely the level we're getting to now. Max Verstappen wins the Italian Grand Prix, and if McLaren outscore Ferrari by 7 points at the next race, they will have won the most boring Constructors' Championship of all time too. And for fans, they've ruined the thing that made this season worth watching. A real fight between two teammates. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why F1 isn't fun anymore. Goodbye.